I thought it was time for a full discussion about No Watch Me. Now, if you've been in the group for a while, if you know exactly what I'm talking about, if you're a fan of No Watch Me, you don't have to watch this video. You can just post your comment or you post your thoughts in the comment about how you've used No Watch Me, how it's changed you, how you don't use your GPS watch for races, how you don't use it for running, and how you feel with it. If you are one of those people, please add your comments here. This is going to be a thread I'm going to keep going, and we'll be referring people back to a lot in the future. Now, if you have absolutely no idea what No Watch Me is, this is for you. And if you are someone who has been kind of watching it a little bit and thought, I don't know if this is for me, hopefully I can convince you today. I just thought it was time I made a video about it because I'd like to have somewhere to refer people to, because this really is going to change your life. It's going to be so much helpful, so much better for you and more helpful for your running than anything you've ever done before. Now, I know what a lot of you are saying, what if I go off too fast? But the whole thing behind No Watch Me, I guess I should explain first, is that what we're saying is that you will learn to run your training and race without looking at your watch. Now, when I say without looking at your watch, I mean not looking at the current pace, not looking at the pace at the mile markers, not looking at really any of it. You will be learning to trust your body. Let it tell you what it's ready to do. And I know a lot of you are going to be panicking, like I mentioned a moment ago, thinking, what if I go off too fast? I always go off too fast. I always struggle at the 20-mile mark. I always struggle in the last half of the marathon. I always struggle in the last mile of a 5K. How am I going to stop myself from going off too fast? Well, that is because your body you have become trained to not listen to your body and instead listen to what the pace thing is telling you. So, I know that's easy for me to say, and it's something that, might seem kind of scary straight off the bat, because how are you going to learn to run evenly if you don't know how to, pace yourself with your watch telling you what speed to run? So I know it's scary at the beginning, and I promise you, I was scared at the beginning. Everyone who will have a comment in here is going to say that they were skeptical at first, but so many people have tried it and they have been amazed with the results, because you are going to learn to trust your body, to let it tell you what it's ready for. It will naturally find the best pace for it. And, if you keep focusing on what a pace you're supposed to be running, that is where you get yourself in trouble. Like, tell me, have any of you ever been running along, and let's say you're either in a race or in a training run, and you look down, let's say a mile into your run, or, a few miles into a hard part, and you see a time and it's too slow. It's much slower than you're supposed to be running. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to pick it up. You're going to force your body into a pace. You're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel horrible. You're going to feel really bad. And then you're going to keep feeling bad because your body is like, I wasn't ready for this yet. Whereas if you would have just given your body, let's say maybe even another mile at that pace, then suddenly you would have hit a good patch and you would have been able to pick it up much faster and actually surpass that previous you. So I don't know if any of you ever remember playing like Mario Kart, where you got to race the ghost, where you get to pass the ghost. Like, that's your best ever, because you're not like focusing on that ghost. You're just doing your best. And that ghost is just doing its best. And I'm not saying that you can't wear your Garmin, you can't wear your GPS watch. I'm just saying put it on either just the distance or the time and the distance, if you can ignore if you don't know the numbers. Like, if you know what this pace equals this, then you probably just want to have it in distance. But I'm not saying don't use your GPS. I'm not saying don't measure the distance, because I am another one of those junkies who loves to have the 6.00, and I love to go through my stats at the end. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying that you need to learn to trust your body. And I'm going to tell you in a minute how you can make sure that you are being consistent, and how you can I can show you that this is actually the right thing to do. But think about it this way. When you race, we set goals, and we know we're going to set goals, and we hope that we're going to run a particular pace. That's part of life. But realistically, all you want to do is run the best that you can for that day, right? I mean, that's all we want, isn't it? Like, you want to be able to say, I did my best, because that's when you're going to cross the finish line and be like, I couldn't have given any more. Because that horrible feeling when you're later on in the day and you're like, could I have done a little bit better? But if you set a pace that you thought you were capable of, and let's say you were ready for much faster than that pace, well, now you've just slowed your body down. So you slowed yourself down to hit that pace that you thought was acceptable, and really you could have run faster. So you want to run the best you can, because who knows what that could be. Your body doesn't know what a number means. All your body knows is, I'm going to do my best, physically the best I can, with the mental confidence that I have. And if you're instead focused on how your body feels, kind of saying, all right, my breathing is a little tough right now, but my legs feel good, or I'm just doing the best I can. It's mile 15. Am I doing the best for mile 15? Yeah, I'm doing the best for mile 15. And so that's going to give you more confidence. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel more confident. You're going to learn to feel what the motion of your pace feels like. You're going to be able to guess what, if someone's going to say to you, what pace are you running right now? You're going to be able to tell them, because you will learn what that is. And even think of it this way, you don't have to worry about the weather, you don't have to worry about the terrain, you don't have to worry about the wind, you don't have to even worry about getting a future marathon training program, especially if you use my marathon and half marathon training program, which is 100% by effort feel. You don't need another plan, because it's not like you have to adjust your paces, because you will keep those same effort levels as you go through, whether you're a 5-hour marathoner to a 2.5-hour marathoner, whether you are a 15-minute 5K guy to a 40-minute 5K guy. It doesn't matter, because you're just going to run your best, and you're just going to run by the effort. So if you learn to trust Know Watch Me, and you practice it during your training, because I know, that's a lot to ask someone, is to just say, go into a race, all this training, and just trust me. And some people have, and you will see in the comments that some people have done that, and it's paid off big time for them. But it is better to practice in training, because that's going to give you that confidence to do it. And if you really can't let go of, I have to know, then what I would suggest is to pick 2 random spots in the race where you can say, I would say mile markers of some kind. You can say, if I go through this line quicker than this, I will slow down a little bit. If I go through it slower than this, I will know, all right, I'm not feeling great, but that gives me some time to work into it. So give yourself a range. I would say a 1 to 2 minute range, and just for those mile markers. So my suggestion to you would be mile 1, because then you can, this is for a marathon. Mile 1, because then you can kind of, all right, I was getting a bit carried away in the adrenaline there, but I'm going to slow myself back down. And then I would also use mile 4, or maybe the 10K, something where you can see the mile markers, and give yourself a range within a minute. Now, if you're doing like a shorter distance, like a 5K or 10K, then maybe I do the first half mile and then just kind of trust it after that, because if you're doing a shorter race, you should be able to just run your best, and it should be a lot easier. So if you don't trust me yet, I want you to try something for me. So what I'm going to have you do is the consistency challenge. So I'm going to have you either go to a track, that's ideal, but if you have to do it on a road, then you have to use your GPS watch to check every 400 meters. So what you're going to do is you're going to run 1 mile, and you're going to pick your pace, let's say your marathon pace, or maybe a pace that is comfortably hard for you. Like out of 10, I'd probably say a 7, if that makes sense. So you're going to run 1 mile at what would be a 7, if you think about your effort level, a 7 intensity out of 10. If 10 is a all-out sprint and 1 is a barely moving jog, like literally if you were going to jog alongside your child jog, so think about a 7. So then what you're going to do is you're going to figure that out to a pace. This is the only time I'm going to tell you to do a pace, but you're going to say a pace. So let's say that's 9-minute pace. So what you're going to do is you're going to run 400 meters, 15% faster than that pace. So you would divide, let's say 9 minutes by 4. Should have got the numbers here. I think I remember from my numbers before that 15% faster would be 115 seconds for 400 meters, but don't quote me on that. But anyway, you want to run 15% faster than that pace for your first 400. And then you want to run the next 800 meters, the next 2 laps or 800 meters at the pace you were supposed to be running. So let's say that 9-minute pace. And then for the final 400, you were going to run 15% slower than that pace. So 15% slower than that 9-minute pace, which I think, again, for 9-minute pace is 150 seconds. And you're going to do it in one go, no rest, just keep going. And then after a rest, maybe, 5-10 minutes, you're going to do 1 mile consistently. You're going to make sure your pace every split is that 9-minute pace or whatever that even pace is. And you tell me which one you feel better, because when your body doesn't like this zigzagging around. I mean, think about it. Our bodies like to be consistent. That's why we like to stay in our little comfort zones and watch TV sometimes in the evening. That's why our bodies are just constantly striving for that constant medium and homeostasis, that comfort zone. Well, our bodies have learned over time not to trust that. We don't understand it because we haven't been following it. And kind of like how we're not very good at intuitive eating anymore, we've become not very good at listening to our paces and what our body is telling us. So I'm trying to teach you and show you that actually if you run consistently and put your body in that rhythm, it's going to feel so much better, and it's going to make you feel much happier, and you're going to enjoy it more, because it is more fun when you run. And you don't have to be like, oh, I've got to look at my watch, and you're wasting all this like energy that you could be looking around at the scenery, and you could just be having fun and like taking in the moment, because instead you're like obsessing like, oh, I was slower, or oh, I was faster, or oh, I what if I'm this or that. So yeah, I'm not saying it's not going to be in your head a little while, and it kind of will be pass through. You think, oh, am I too fast? Am I too slow? But you will learn to get used to that. And you can also use your breathing to kind of say, am I breathing too hard? Am I breathing not enough? But one of the biggest things you will need to do is say to yourself, I like to think of it as like rationing out energy. So let's say you have a 10-mile race and you're 2 miles in. You'll say, okay, can I run another 8 miles at this pace? If the answer is no, and you will know in your heart, you have to listen. If the answer is no, and you can feel yourself breathing hard already, slow down, just back off, don't look at a pace, just slow down, trust your body, and it'll probably feel better later on, and then you can pick it up and probably make up more time than you would have lost had you forced it into a different pace. So you want to be asking yourself, can I hold it for this amount of time? Am I doing my best for this amount of time? So let's say you're at mile 17 in a marathon. You want to say to yourself, am I doing my best for mile 17? Mile 17, so I still have, what would that be, 9 miles, 17? Should have thought, 6 plus, 9 miles left. Can I do this pace for another 9 miles? If the answer is yes, then, you're fine. That's all you're doing. You're doing your best for mile 17. And you just want to keep asking yourself questions. Am I doing my best? Yes, keep going. Do I think I can keep going at this pace? Yes, then keep going. And so it's just going to train you over time. And I know this is scary, especially if you've never done this before and you want to run a particular pace. And like I said, when you have a big goal, I'm not saying you can't go for a goal, and I'm not saying you can't have that goal in your mind, but you need to let go of the pace. You will hit that goal. You will reach that goal. I know you will, but you have to let your body tell you when it is ready. And the best way you're going to run your best and get to that goal you want is if you run relaxed and you feel comfortable and your body is telling you what it's ready for. You might hit a bad patch at mile 3, but then by mile 5 you feel great. Whereas if you'd forced it at mile 3, you probably feel bad till mile 10, and now you've just lost, all this confidence, and you've had 6 or 7 miles to just these thoughts plaguing your mind saying, what is wrong with you? Why are you running too slow? What are you doing? Or if you're too fast, you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to blow up. I'm going to blow up. It's only a matter of time till I blow up. Whereas this will just allow you to say, am I doing my best? Yep. Okay, that's all I can do. So that was a giant long ramble. I didn't mean to make it that long. I do apologize. As I mentioned, my and Steve's training plans are now available. You can get them at tinamuir.com/shop. And those training plans are 100% effort-based. So if you can trust me, and you can trust all these other people in the comments below that tell you that this works, then if you get those training plans, you have that for the rest of your life. You can adapt it any day, any weather, any condition, any race, any marathon, any whatever, because you are doing it by effort. So isn't that kind of cool that this is one training program you can use over and over and over again if you want to? So I hope you will find out more. I hope you will trust me. And even if you don't want the training plans, just try No Watch Me and then let us know in the comments what you think. All right, I want to hear what you guys think, so tell me what you think.